Děkuji, dobrý večer. Thank you for accepting the invitation for today's webinar. Thank you for CGSI for organizing and hosting the today event. And I thank to you all for your interest in the Czech consulate, your interest in Czech cultural heritage, and your passion for the history. I hope that you will enjoy this hour. And we plan, if there is a positive outcome of today's meeting, to continue this outreach series. And we offer to spread the knowledge and to educate people. And I am glad to offer my first lecture to the genealogist, because the CGSI members, as I realized, are well educated and they are willing to spread the knowledge. Here you can see the topics I want to cover today. After introduction, where I have 3 key messages, I want to speak about history, about laws, and it's my favorite subject, so I hope I will not take too long. After, I have some case studies for you, and there will be a possibility to have questions at the end. So I hope it's okay for you. In the beginning, I want to say that one of limitation is that you probably know that the citizenship cases are case by case. They are different. There are many possible scenarios. It's quite complex and multidimensional. So it may be possible that I will try to cover everything, but it may be possible that I will not cover everything. And there may be a situation when you'll be imagining some different scenario that I will be speaking about. So please try to, there is something like this, to reach out to us, and we can clarify it. This is some information about me. I work at the Czech consulate in Chicago. I started my position in 2021. I entered ministry, Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Service in 2004. And so it's 20 years already. And I had the privilege to serve in Buenos Aires in Argentina, where I dealt as well with citizenship, because Argentina was as well a country where a lot of people from Czechoslovakia immigrated. After I served 4 years in Bratislava, that was as well interesting as a relation between Czechia and Slovakia, and well, the existence of Czechoslovakia. For my personal point, I think it's interesting that my wife is Slovak. She got the Czech citizenship by naturalization 3 years ago. We have 3 sons. Each of them was born in different country, and each of them have Czech and Slovak citizenship because they were born to the Czech father and Slovak mother. So this is about me. And now the introduction, my 3 key messages. Please, if you considering applying for the Czech citizenship, or if you want to approach the consulate for any other issue, be prepared. We may ask a lot of questions, and especially when it's the case of the citizenship. And it's important for the citizenship to know why you are applying. It means what is your Czechoslovak point, Czechoslovak part of the family, whether it was you who in some moment had Czech or Czechoslovak citizenship, whether it was one of your parents or one of your grandparents. For the moment, it's not possible to go further for grandparents, but nevertheless, it's, I think, still good for the genealogist to know the possibilities and to know the family history, because after with the application, what is the first step is to really confirm that this person that you believe was a Czechoslovak citizen was a Czechoslovak citizen. I will go through it later in the part concentrated to the history. So it's important to know not only the name, but as many details about this person, you know, place, date, and well, basically everything you can find. So be prepared. Role of the consulate. I have to explain, and probably you know it, that the consulate in the process of application for citizenship is not a deciding body. We do not issue any decisions. We somehow collect the application and the annexes, and we send it to Czechia to the competent authorities. It's in the majority of cases the registrar in Prague. We as well understand that because the process is like the Czech official language is Czech and all the process is in Czech, that our applicants somehow need the help with the Czech language. So as a courtesy, we offer that we will fill out the forms and help with the translations. We don't do the translations. Okay, and now I will switch to the web page of the consulate. I have to say that I am not the person who is dealing with the citizenship applications. I'm the head of the consular section. My colleague Štěpánka Hasilová is the one who is answering the emails and the phones and helping to fill out the forms. After there are two colleagues, Lucia Horák and Kateřina Novanko. They are doing like other things like visas and passport for the Czech citizens and other. Probably you will enter in contact with them as well. But for the Czech citizenship, it's mostly Štěpánka Hasilová, or you can like contact myself. Message number 3: the process is complicated and it takes time. If you decide to apply, and anybody can apply, pay the fee and apply. We see it as a big decision. We thank you for this. We thank you for willing to be part of Czechia. We appreciate all the steps you are taking. I think it's somehow you know it, and just to show you the process, my second son was born in Argentina, and it was relatively like straightforward case. He was born in January, and I had his passport in June. So it was like it was not possible to do it much more faster. Actually, as we see cases of like persons born in US applying for Czech citizenship, it may take 1 year or sometime less, sometime more. I have as well one note that my recommendation is, if you apply for the Czech citizenship and you are applying through previous generations, communicate this step with your family and have some strategy about sharing of documents sharing. Because once you present the documents, what is in your file is in your file. And it's somehow complicated when your cousins may approach us. So it's good that you solved this issue before. Okay, so those were my 3 messages. Be prepared. We as a consulate, we can help you, but we don't decide anything. And number 3, the process may be long. Okay, so now we go to the history. It's my favorite part. I studied Latin at Charles University, so it's my passion, and I hope I will be as brief as possible, and I hope as well I will not repeat something you already know. Generally speaking, I agree with historians as Jacques Le Goff or as was like Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy putting in his War and Peace, that history is history of people, and it's not about big personalities. So those personalities may be like speakers and movers or oppressors of the change, and in European context, incentive for the change were often wars and revolutions. So I will go through the history by this perspective, and as well those changes were later certified or codified, and the laws followed, and the prescription followed in some cases some years later. So I was willing to start in 15th century, but I will start with Maria Theresia in Habsburg and Austrian monarchy in 18th century. Maria Theresia was the first woman on the throne as a head of Austrian monarchy. She had to fight with neighbors, especially with Germans. And one of the result of this war was as well bigger concentration of the monarchy, a bigger centralization of the monarchy. And you as genealogists know that from this time we have all the registers, birth registers, marriage registers, and death registers. We in Czechia remember that from this time the children had the obligatory school. I put down the term of serfdom. I think it's important in the US context to explain how it was in Austrian monarchy, and to stress that there were different levels. Well, completely bottom was the slavery, when the people were not people but just the objects. And I think like the nevolnictví or serfdom in the Austrian monarchy was just one step above. If you know the status of Russian muzhiki in 19th century, it was more or less this. They were forced to stay in the land, in the village. They were like part of the village, and they had the obligation to work for the land owner. So this was something as like this form of serfdom was abolished in the 18th century in Austrian monarchy. And I think it's important to say that Austrian monarchy was a big state. So in western parts of Bohemia, the serfdom was never that strong as was, for instance, in actual Slovakia. But I think it's important to speak about it. We have some historians, and there were especially like communist historians that were describing this time as a dark time for the people. But I think it's important to distinguish about what time and about what part of the Austrian territory we are actually speaking. After there were wars with Napoleon in the beginning of the 19th century. What Austrian Empire learned for Napoleon, how effectively mobilize the forces of the nation. So they started to have new military records. It's as well an important and I think interesting genealogical resource. And those military records I mentioned because they somehow were linked with the domicile. And it's an important concept to understand the link between the people, between the land, the city, the village, and the people. From 1811, I mentioned new civil code for non-German speaking parts of Austrian Empire, because this civil code somehow introduced legally the principle of jus sanguinis. You know that is a principle that the head of the family, in this case it was the head of the family, or now we understand it as one of the parents, gives the nationality and the citizenship or other privileges to children. So it's in our law from this time. After there were revolutions and like fight for freedom in 1848. You probably know that this was the time when Prague was bombed by guns, and I see as a result, one big result was that after the serfdom, after 1848, the serfdom was abolished completely. So people were free to move. A lot of them in the second half of the 19th century started to be attracted by America. And I have the concept of domicile. It was introduced by a special law in 1863. I mentioned the serfdom because the serfdom was like formally as well an obligation for the landowner to protect the people that are on the land. And the domicile, it's not a residence, how we understand it now, or is something like your permanent address. It was your right to live in the village. You can see the certificate, and it somehow gave you as well the possibility to ask for pension for the village if it was a case. So it was a relation between the place where you live, and it's some sort of confirmation that you are officially a member of the community. It's something I imagine completely strange in the US context, that the authority or the municipality somehow protects you this way. I think we had it in Czechoslovak laws until the communist times, until 1949, actually, and Austria had it even longer. And I think this principle somehow is still functioning in Switzerland. And why I'm mentioning this? Because in the moment of creation of Czechoslovakia, your domicile was really important. After I put here 1871, it's the year when the United States and Austro-Hungarian Empire in this time concluded a bilateral treaty about naturalization. And I put, for me, it's interesting, it's like treaty between the US president and Austrian emperor. So not between the states, but by the head of the governments. And the principle was, you can, I think I put the link to the text of the treaty in the handout. The principle was that after what it was, the principle was to exclude double nationality, because this was the politic of the time. You should be a citizen of one country, and to exclude double nationality, each person that resided in the United States, generally after 5 years, was considered as a US citizen and lost the Austrian Austro-Hungarian citizenship. There was a provision like to do it vice versa, but I think it was never applied for the people from the United States to reside in Austrian monarchy. So this may be complication. Well, complication. This meant that people that, for instance, emigrated in 1880 and resided here and gained U.S. citizenship after sometimes lost Austrian citizenship. Why I mention it? Because you know that after First World War, Czechoslovakia was created. We have our biggest day, October 28th. It's our like Independence Day, Czech Independence Day. It was in the year 1918, and well, Czechoslovakia was created in Paris. The state was declared in Prague, but it took several months actually for the Czech forces to control all the territory. You probably know that in the first year we had to fight. We had a war, relatively short war with Poland, and several months long war with Hungary to stabilize the southern border. And it was only in 1920 when the Czechoslovak state was able to produce the constitution and the law about citizenship. And I think it's quite logical, because it was a difficult time in the beginning, so it took 1 year to prepare the constitution, and the same time for the law about the citizenship. The law created what de facto already existed, Czechoslovak citizenship. The Czechoslovak citizens were the people living with domicile in actual territory of Czechoslovakia. You probably know how big was Czechoslovakia after the First World War, that it included part of actual Ukraine. So that's why the domicile and is so important. And I think that people that emigrated for Austro-Hungarian Empire during the First World War, although it was really difficult to go away, were Austrian and had the domicile in actual territory of Czech Republic, emigrated with Austrian passport, or with even Austrian domovský list. The document I showed you actually in the beginning served as a passport to travel between different parts of monarchy and and as well internationally, because a passport for the Austrian monarchy were introduced late in the 19th century. So there might be cases of people that became Czechoslovak citizens being abroad in the year 1918, but I actually never never encountered a case like this. I put the year 1928. This is the year when Czechoslovakia concluded bilateral treaty with United States about naturalization, aim to prevent double nationality, because in this time, I think, if I not so nice way, the citizenship was seen as a mercy of the state, that you should be grateful for having the citizenship. And this was the case of Czechoslovakia. After we had Second World War, Czechoslovakia ceased to exist between 1938 till officially Czechoslovakia ceased to exist after Munich Agreement. There was some form of Czechoslovakia until March 39, and Czechoslovak state without part of Ukraine was recreated in 1945. But what is important, that people that de jure Czechoslovakia never ceased to exist, and we still see the people that were born for the citizenship during the Second World War in the territory of Czechia as Czech citizens. This is case of my father. He was born in Prague in 1943. He has a nice German birth certificate, and he was later Czechoslovak citizen, and he is now Czech citizen. I put a presidential decree that entered in force after the end of the Second World War, because you probably know as well that the end of the Second World War, and it was the time when there was a big movement of people in Central Europe, people that had German nationality and were considered as contributors to destruction of Czechoslovakia and start of Second World War, had to leave Czechoslovakia. It was like 2 million of people, and those people are still not eligible for the Czech citizenship because they lost it by this presidential decree. After the Second World War, it took some years, but the communists were gaining power, and they took the power finally in February 1948, and they started to close Czechoslovakia and to concentrate the power. So they entered new Czechoslovak law about the Czech citizenship, and it was with the aim of controlling more people. They had even like institution of forced return. They were, if the Ministry of Interior asked somebody to return from abroad, and this person did not obey this request, this person had to go, lost the citizenship. So between 49 till 69, when the Czechoslovak citizens living abroad had a child, they had to bring this child to the Czechoslovak embassy and to register it within 1 year between in the first year of its life, when it was in the mixed marriage. Otherwise, this child could not have Czechoslovak citizenship. In Argentina, I met cases of members of the same family, of siblings, when one born in 46 had Czech citizenship and the one born in 1950 could not have the citizenship. Now it's possible to ask it back. I put as well the year 1969 because it's important for the creation of Czech citizenship. In this year, after the Russian invasion in August 68, Czechoslovakia was transformed in a federation of 2 states, Czechia and Slovakia. And there was still Czechoslovak citizenship. The passport were Czechoslovak and everything was Czechoslovak. But apart and together with this, everybody had Czech or Slovak citizenship. Nobody cared basically because it didn't have any importance. After, I will jump to the year 1989. You know, it was the year of Velvet Revolution and end of communist regime. One of the first amendments or principles that were introduced to the constitution was that nobody can be deprived of Czech citizenship against its will. It was a reaction to the like communist praxis. Here I will make a parenthesis in the process of citizenship. It's important to distinguish that you acquire the citizenship by the act of the will, it's like a naturalization, or by act that is not related to your will, like you are born, or in some cases even like in marriage. So when you do some step, like you show your will, it's considered differently when you don't have to take any steps, like you are born to the Czech father and Slovak mother. This is independent Czechia. The law, this is important, is the law number 40, Czech law number 40 for 1993. It was a time when it was necessary to say who is Czech and who is Slovak. And as well, it was a law that did not allow double nationality only in like specific cases, as for instance, for the children of mixed marriages. And in this time, like hundreds of thousands of former Czechoslovak citizens choose to be Slovak or Czech because they somehow like were falling in a different category and or they were living abroad. And then there were some periods when the people had the possibility to choose, and a lot of people used this possibility to choose. After some years, the politicians were starting to realize that the society is changing, and double nationality, double citizenship is more or less more and more common. So they prepared a new law that entered 183 from 2013, that entered in force January 1st, 2014. And it's an actual law. This law introduced the principle of dual citizenship, and I put amendment for the year 2019 because since this year as well, children and grandchildren of former Czechoslovak citizens or former Czech citizens can apply again for the Czech citizenship. So the principal idea of the law was to repair the damage done by communists. So when people lost their citizenship abroad, for instance, by naturalization in the United States, they can claim the Czech citizenship back. And by the amendment from 2019, even the children and grandchildren of those children can claim this citizenship, the Czech citizenship back. So, and now I go to the case studies. Those case studies and the photo is from the naturalization ceremony we held at the consulate in November. And I put the dates. So the first year is the year of the naturalization, and the second year is the year of the birth of the person who actually received the Czech citizenship at our naturalization ceremony. When there are two commas, it means it was from the grandparent. So we had those cases as well. As you see, there was just one case when the person was naturalized before the Second World War. Example number 4 is actually interesting because it's a case when this gentleman was born in Protectorate Böhmen und Mähren in 1940, and his parent was naturalized in the United States in 1957. In this case, this person never lost the Czech citizenship or Czechoslovak citizenship, and in 1969 acquired the Czech citizenship because this person was born to Czech father according to the law valid in the year 1940, acquired the Czech citizenship. I thank you for your attention. It's more or less what I prepared. I will now go if there are any questions. First, like formal step is to fill out the application form and pay the application fee. What we offer at the Czech consulate, we offer some preliminary consultations because we can ask, and because it's not just the application that you will be filling, you will be asked to provide as well basically all the documents that about the birth, marriages that happened, and naturalization that happened in the United States. You are reconstructing all the family history in the Czech register. So the first step is to approach the consulate and or other entity, because something I have to say as well is that we are one entity that sends the documents and the applications to the Czech authorities. If you have family in Czechia, they can do it for you. They can deliver it to the Prague 1 register, for instance. Or I know that there are like professional lawyers offering those services. So you are free to, like everybody is free to do what they want. You are as well free to like ask some lawyer and pay some lawyer to do it for you. But I would say what will be the first step is to know your Czechoslovak ancestor, and after we can ask for the so-called certificate of citizenship, and it will say, for instance, this person born in 1897 in Klatovy was Czechoslovak citizen from October 28, 1918 till November 30, 21. When this person became U.S. citizen. So this is the first step, like to really identify this person. And after it depends how long, how far away are you from this person. So I hope it answered the question. As well, one thing I want to mention that according to your residency in the States, you should ask our colleagues in Washington or colleagues in New York or Czech consulate in Los Angeles. I know that like the forms that we are asking are the same because those are defined by the law, but we maybe insist more on the personal contact. I know for some people it may be complicated to come to Chicago, and there is a possibility as well to send it by mail, but according to our experience, it's more complicated. As well, something I want to mention, contact to the consulate. We are humans. It means there will be no artificial intelligence chatting with you or answering the phone. We are a small team. We have to attend other people as well. We are not able to answer each phone, but we promise to answer every reasonable email, and we are not able to answer it the next day then probably. In Czechia, no. In Czechia, you pay taxes only if you have residency there or if you have some income there. Generally, there are, well, there are obligations for the Czechs linked to the residency in Czechia. I don't see that there are no obligation. Obviously, in case of war, there will be like some obligations, but generally, it's like, for instance, tax burden. It's not as it's different than the United States. So yes, there might be a step to one generation more. It means for the grandchildren. So I go back to my message number one: be prepared, because it will open the possibilities to much more people. But still, it's not like a project of the law. It's part of the debate. It was when there were Austro-Hungarians. It's as I mentioned in the history part. In the moment of creation of Czechoslovakia, everybody that has a domicile within the territory of Czechoslovakia was considered as a Czechoslovak citizen. So even theoretically speaking, I never faced a case like this. Even people that left Austro-Hungarian monarchy were not affected by the bilateral treaty between US and Austro-Hungarian monarchy and those 5 years of residency. could become Czechoslovak citizens even residing abroad. But sincerely, I never saw like a case of a Czech citizenship returned this way. As you see, like with the naturalization, we had cases of we had 9 people. For one, it was like straight naturalization. And for others, there was not just one when the ancestor was born before the Second World War. We will start with the first point of the history. If you don't have like birth certificate or domovský list or some documents of your ancestor, like Czech documents, you can have duplicate, or we can ask for them now, but you will have to fill out the form with exact place and date. Yeah, like to identify this person. And if there is this like record in the Czech registers, we can issue a duplicate of birth certificate from the Austria. And what I see that we can issue like duplicates of birth certificates from the Austro-Hungarian times. So this is something that we can do. And after what the Czech authorities are asked to show all the links and all the important documents in the United States. So birth certificates, marriage certificates, naturalization certificates, those things have to be with apostille, like to be presented abroad, and with the translation to Czech. So it's relatively it depends how big is the family, but it's relatively lot of documentation. And yeah, that's it. And with the naturalization certificate, we know it's an important document, and we debate with the people, because the process is once you send the file to Czechia, it never goes back, it stays there. So we tend to speak with the people what to do with original of the documents. But yeah, we can ask. So we can ask for the duplicates of the Czech or Czechoslovak or even Austrian documents, and after all important facts here in the United States. It depends if it's a naturalization, like was the case of my wife. So she had to pass communication tests from Czechia, from Czech, and multiple choice tests from the Czech society. But if it's like return of the Czech citizenship, or like in the case number 4, going back completely, and the line was never interrupted, so there is no requirement of fluency in Czech. And I can tell you that from those 9 persons that we had in November, like 50% did not speak Czech. Although I will use the opportunity to invite everybody to study Czech, and I think I saw some of the participants as well, participants of the Czech program, because we in the consulate offer 4 weeks Czech studies class in Czechia in the summer, free. It's a standard fee. The application itself, it's like $14-20. What is I think much more expensive are the annexes, when you had to get like naturalization certificate, or the birth certificate, translations. Apostille is like $2. So I think that the application itself is relatively easy, but the annexes may be much more like complicated, and that's why I mentioned in the beginning, when you prepare the application, share the information with the family and agree somehow how will you proceed with those documents not to duplicate it. Yes, we have it in our webpage, and I think in New York they have it. And but basically, there are like two different things. The translation doesn't have to be done by the official translator. We in the consulate offer the service that we see the translation, we see the original, and we certify this is a correct translation. And I know that some people are using the services of online translators in Czechia, maybe like even cheaper. So there is no like official requirement who should be the translator. You can contact us, and if you know the place and the date, like for the genealogical research, I think it's possible. Like you have to prove your like legal interest in this. You have to prove that it's a member of your family, but it's possible to apply for this. Yeah, it's my assessment, so I hope it's like this. Yes, so we have excellent honorary consuls in St. Paul, in Minneapolis, in Kansas City, Missouri, and in Lincoln, Nebraska. Those are three ladies. They are not involved in the process of the citizenship. It would be, but what we can do together, that we by email or by phone prepare the application. We make sure you have everything, and you can go to the office of the honorary consulate where they can like accept the application, certify your signatures, and send it to us. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, and thank you for the participation. Thank you for the questions, and that's it. Děkuji.